was an Inspector General audit last year that showed over an 8-year period, the Social Security Administration made almost $72 billion in improper payments, a little less than 1% of payments in that time period. Now, the report also says that most of these improper payments were overpayments, not payments to deceased people or people who didn't qualify to receive these payments. At the same time, Jose, this effort by DOGE is to go through this agency like every other and try to weed out waste and fraud.
Yeah, I mean, and also $72 billion, and that's without a comprehensive search. I mean, that's significant.
This kind of fear-mongering doesn't help anybody, but it tells me that people are worried that, that they're part of the waste, fraud, and abuse.
And you think there's going to be a ton more?
I think when I came in, we all think there's waste, there's abuse. I think there may be some real fraud here, Brett.
The American people are exhausted and tired of watching their tax dollars be corruptly spent, abused, wasted, and in every sense robbed and stolen from them. This president, for the first time in history, is committed to restoring accountability at every level of the federal government. You may assert there's no waste in the Pentagon. You may assert there's no waste in
Stephen,
Treasury.
I'm not
you may assert there's no waste in HHS.
Stephen, I don't think anyone...
Then why are you not celebrating these cuts? If you agree there is waste, if you agree there is abuse, if you agree there is corruption, why are you not celebrating the cuts, the reforms that are being instituted? Every day that no action is taken, the entire salaries of American workers that are taxed disappear forever.
Stephen, let's calm down.
This is not...
We're not having a debate.
There's no reason
about whether there are places...
You are clearly trying to debate me, and I will be as excited as I want to be about the fact that we are saving Americans billions of dollars, that we are ending the theft and waste and grift and corruption, that we are stopping American taxpayer dollars from subsidizing a rogue federal bureaucracy that has been relentlessly weaponized against the American people.
Okay,
you
Stephen,
may not care about
I'm
this
not
issue.
Talking about
your colleagues may not care about this issue. But we care about this issue. The American people care about this issue.
They also care about privacy.
And the American public overwhelmingly supports what President Trump is doing.
As you saw from the intro, fraud does exist. Democrats cannot deny fraud exists. But the reason why it seems like they defend a lot of these government agencies, it seems like they benefit in some ways from the fraud. Right? There's stories about former deputy secretaries of transportation to Pete Buttigieg and how he used a lot of the funding in the Department of Transportation for left-wing climate slush funds. Right? I recently found out that how Congress appropriate money is they just give a big chunk of money and say, hey, this person, secretary of this and so is in charge of distributing these funds. Right? So when they tell Donald Trump that he has to spend this money, it's not itemized. And that's a problem. So you just give people these large chunk of money. It's not itemized. And then you want to get mad when Donald Trump says, I'm a free spending on that. I need to see where this money is going. Is it? Wow. And in the intro, you saw that they exposed 0.something% of Social Security payments. $72 billion of those are accounting errors, frauds. And we would never have found that if DOGE didn't have access to the records. But the Democrats are out here fear-mongering about privacy concerns. Oh, it's making federal employees uncomfortable. But it didn't make federal employees uncomfortable that they're wasting money, that people over a certain age, 125 years old, there's millions of them out there in the United States of America getting Social Security checks. On one hand, they cannot deny that fraud does not exist in the government. And then when we find some evidence of, hey, there's people 300 years old still receiving Social Security money, you don't think that this should be investigated? None of the federal employees was uncomfortable about that. Here's a clip I want to show you, a side-by-side clip. Not side-by-side, but one clip after another. One's going to be about how CNN covers the resignation of the head of Social Security versus what Donald Trump has found through DOGE and when he's notified through DOGE. And what will make America more uncomfortable? The fact that their privacy is being invaded, or the fact that the government has been wasting our money, millions and millions, billions of dollars of our money to people who may be dead, and someone is at the other end of that receiving a check. Make it make sense. But I digress. Let's take a look.
Right, new this morning, sources tell CNN that the acting head of the Social Security Administration, Michelle King, has resigned over Elon Musk's team requesting access to sensitive Social Security information. Let's get right to CNN's Renee Marsh for the latest on this. What are you learning, Renee?
John, good morning. King worked at this agency for more than 30 years, and she walked away from her decades of service after clashing with Elon Musk's DOGE request for access to sensitive systems that contain Social Security recipients' personal information, including medical and financial information. Now, keep in mind, some 72.5 million people, including retirees, disabled people, and children, receive Social Security benefits. So we're talking about access to millions of Americans' personal information at this agency. Musk has said that this is all about identifying waste and fraud at government agencies, and we should note that this is not the only agency where DOGE has accessed Americans' sensitive private information, making many career federal employees at those agencies uncomfortable and concerned. Career employees have had similar concerns at the IRS and the Treasury Department, also getting access to these sensitive systems, John. So the Social Security Administration is just the latest.
From 120 years old, people that are 120 years old up to 129, 3,472,000 people. Wow. You know that can't possibly be, because the record is like, I think it's one person, a woman, lived to 127, but they have 3,472. Okay, but now we're going really in. People from 130 years old to 139-year-old, 3,936,000. Wow. I wonder if people are getting paid with all this. I mean, are these checks? And that's what we're checking right now. People from 140 years old to 149 years old, 3,542,000, 140 years old and beyond. Now we're really going, because we're looking to break the record by 25 years. People from 150 years old to 159 years old, 1,345,000. These are in the, by the way, these are in the computer files. This is what they do well.
I honestly think a lot of these people who are quitting or stepping down when DOGE requests information and they lose that and calling them vampires, I think this is a way for them to save face, honestly. Because the information that comes after DOGE gets access to this information, I'm like, oh, okay, so you had no problem with $72 billion being wasted. You had no curiosity about what was going on. Acting Commissioner of Social Security Administration Michelle King resigned on Sunday after a standoff with Elon Musk's DOGE over access to sensitive government records. The same day, Musk posted that he said this could be the biggest fraud in U.S. history, in which millions of people over the age of 100 years old are collecting payments. King, who worked at the agency for over 30 years, left her position this weekend after refusing to give DOGE staffers access to sensitive information such as fraudulent payments to vampires, with at least one recipient being older than the United States itself. But this didn't make people, federal employees at Social Security, uncomfortable. What's really making federal employees uncomfortable is that they're facing accountability, that they're facing oversight. That's what's making them uncomfortable. DOGE wants to look at private citizens' information. No, they're looking at government records, right? And to me, this is a smokescreen. They're trying to feign concern over Americans' privacies, but at the same time, 4 years ago, you had an administration trying to tell people that they have to show their vaccine status, which is also, that's a privacy concern, just so they can get into a restaurant. Oh, do you have your vaccine card with you? But now the same side wants to worry about Americans' privacy, but they're the same side that wanted you to get fired if you didn't show proof that you got vaccinated. Make it make sense. And that's why I led up with this intro. There's so many videos that I can go, like it was so hard to land on what will be my final video to react to close off this video. And I think Stephen Miller, his conversation with this lady here will sum up pretty well what the hell is going on. Americans want more savings. America are tired of people like this. Has been a popular idea since Obama, since the 90s. People do not like their money being wasted. People do not like their money being used for other purposes that was not intended for the money in the first place. And this is what we see prominently across all these federal agencies. And they're mad that they're getting transparency. They're mad that we are able to audit them the same way they audit us. It's a two-way street over here. Make it make sense. How is it that we put you in power, yet it's a one-way street? You're allowed to look at our records, making sure we're paying our taxes. If I send my wife a Zelle over $600, you want to audit me, but we can't audit you. There's no oversight on you, but you have oversight on us. Make it make sense. But we're the ones who put you in power. Okay. Well, but I digress. Let's look at this conversation because I think you're going to witness a fatality. Let's take a look.
You mentioned yesterday, and you mentioned again here, illegal immigrants who are getting child tax credits. Are you looking for that information in the IRS data?
Anytime a crime is committed, of course there should be an investigation. Is it your position that if somebody who is
Stephen,
here
are you looking for that
is stealing
information in the
taxpayer
IRS
dollars,
data?
the federal government will find every illegal alien who is stealing American taxpayer dollars. And that is what Americans expect to happen.
Will you find that in the IRS
I don't
data
even
and share
fathom the
that with
premise
law
of your
enforcement?
question.
It's a simple question. Will
Anyone
you find that
who is-
information in the IRS data and share that with law
if
enforcement?
This is my problem. Why are you looking for a specific answer? This is my problem. Like, you ask a question, let the guy answer it how you want, and then you can come back to it. Or, hey, I want this specific. I want you to explain that. Are you looking for something in particular? He's telling you, no, I'm looking for anyone who breaking the law. And we have data to show that most illegals, 55% of them or so, are on some government benefit that most likely they didn't pay into much. And you don't see this as a problem? And this is what I'm talking about. This is what Americans are talking about, is that Democrats pretend that they're for the people, they're for Americans, but in reality, they're only for themselves because they're using our tax money as a way to bribe people, to pay off people like a Robin Hood. Democrats are almost like Robin Hood, but instead of stealing from the rich, they steal from the coffers of the village to pay foreigners to show how great they are, to make themselves look so generous, and they essentially buying support from illegals. And America's like, no, we're tired of you using these people as political pawns to your game, Democrats. Stop using our money for this stuff. Stop using our money to create these slush funds where you're pushing transgenderism and all this other crap on us. And many Democrats are coming around. Check out this 40-second video, and we'll get back into the video.
Talked to some Arizona voters who switched from voting for Joe Biden in 2020 to Trump in 2024, and so far, they mostly like what they see.
I just think he's trying to get America back on track as quickly as possible, given the state that it was left in from the previous administration.
It feels more merit and transparency that I'm getting from the administration so far.
I approve of a lot of the stuff that he's doing with the border and everything.
He's put other countries on notice that we're to be taken seriously.
For the most part, I feel like he's on the right track by keeping transgenders out of women's sports. That's number one.
All 11 Biden-Trump voters say they approve of Donald Trump's first weeks in office. My panel is back.
So I don't know where this fake concern is coming from. This is why I said they're using privacy concerns as a cover to mask not getting audited, not to get transparency. When y'all in the beginning of Biden's administration, and you saw it from some of the swing voters that went from Biden to Trump, they mentioned some of this. Hey, I feel like this is the most transparent I ever hear, especially compared to the last 4 years. Last 4 years, we wasn't getting any transparency. Where was this concern when Biden wanted people to get fired because of their vaccination status, because they didn't want to show proof that they got vaccinated? None of this concern, but all of a sudden, oh yeah, we want to go in through government records to see where they're spending our money at, and if we find any fraud, improper payments, or lost payments, who knows? That's on auto pay. We can cancel it and say, hey, look, we just saved $40 million here. We save $30,000 here. We save $100,000 there because we stop all these unnecessary payments or these payments that's no longer supposed to be active. Government will sign a contract for 3 years, and then the person leaves, and all of a sudden people forget about that contract, and the government's paying for these things forever. And this is what we're trying to. This is what essentially DOGE is trying to find.
Data and share that with law
if
enforcement.
IRS investigators find illegal aliens stealing taxpayer money, of course they'll be referred to ICE. Of course they'll be referred to Homeland Security investigations. Of course it will be. Surely your position is not that we should let illegal aliens steal taxpayer dollars. Again, you want to talk about something to be upset about, that's it. What do you think? The millions of illegal aliens who've also stolen Social Security. Illegal aliens in mass have fake Social Security numbers. They have fake identities. Those are felonies. Why should there be an entire class in this country that is immunized from criminal prosecution and arrest for committing felonies? Felony theft of taxpayer information, felony theft of Social Security, felony theft of identity. These are all crimes. And yes, they will be investigated. Yes, they will be.
And this is another weird thing that Democrats are doing too. And this is why I said Democrats are America last, themselves first. Democratic voters, the reason why they protect criminal and illegals, because they know they're political pawns of their game. They allow them to justify wasteful spending, justify, like, imagine you hold people born in your country to a higher standard than people born outside of your country that come into your country to take advantage of the systems and the opportunity here in this country, and you don't want to prosecute them at all? A lot of these Democrats treat illegals like they give them the red carpet treatment. Oh, you can do anything you want. Treat these people like celebrities. They get special benefits, special this, all for free. They didn't have to contribute a single dime to your tax system. People are actively helping them stay in this country. I see why illegals come here. Illegals go, oh, look, half of these Americans will go out of their way to protect you. Hell, even house you in some places. It's like the dream over here. And you create, and Democrats are not understanding that they're inherently creating an incentive structure where they want people to come here to take advantage of us.
Prosecuted. And yes, illegal aliens will be deported. And you know what happens when those deportations occur?
Just very quickly,
is that
Stephen,
Americans will get jobs, Americans will get benefits, Americans will get houses.
Stephen, if they got a child, if they got a credit, a child tax credit, and they will be referred, you're saying, to ICE for that, and you would expect deported for that. Is that the position of the administration?
If it is found that a crime has been committed, they'll be referred. If it justifies a prosecution, they'll be prosecuted. If it justifies a deportation, they will be deported. This will be based on existing IRS protocols and procedures for criminal investigation and fraud.
All right,
the difference is that no one is given immunity anymore. No one is given permission to break the law anymore. Because this is not a country, this is not a sovereign territory. If illegal aliens can freely steal billions, with a B, billions of taxpayer dollars. And I would have to imagine that CNN, which is endlessly talks about the importance of democracy and the rule of law, would say that no class in this country should be above the law, least of all illegal aliens who've trespassed on our territory.
No, Stephen, I'm just asking, I wanted to get your position on some things. We're not taking a position here. We wanted to get some answers to some questions. There are so many questions that need to be answered.
It doesn't sound
Stephen
to me
Miller,
like you are, in fact, indifferent or unbiased on these questions, but thank you.
Stephen Miller, thank you so much.
Fatality. Hey, that's a fatality. That's a fatality there, bro. Like, it could... The desperation to justify why illegals should sit here and rob us of our money, rob us blind. And you wonder why the Social Security heads step down. And all these improper payments, once you get past 100 years old, the record's 120. And these people are receiving money. And they don't want, we don't want DOGE to have access because we have privacy concerns. Yeah, your privacy concerns. Yeah, the government's privacy concerns. And they still don't get it. Like, here's a panel. Look, they still don't get it.
This was a story Friday, and literally Elon said, "Oops, we gotta rehire them because nobody knows how to do what these people know how to do."
Yeah, the nuclear thing. Okay, gets it wrong once in a while. Big deal. So what?
I agree with that.
That's 10% of the time.
It's okay. I actually think it's okay if they run into a stumble here or there because the project is so massive. The need to cut is so massive The government is so massive. It's inconceivable that you wouldn't make a mistake here or there. But I think that's acceptable if the greater goal is achieved, which is a smaller government, more efficient government.
Even if someone,
trim the fat.
even if someone dies, or even if someone, because
Are
we're
you
talking
alleging
about,
that someone has died from this?
we don't know. I'm talking about when the rubber meets the road. I'm talking about, for example, Kansas City, 30,000 government employees might be laid off. It will destroy the economy of Kansas City. That's okay.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm reading what the individuals from Kansas City have been saying, that they're very concerned.
What do you think they're going to say when they're going to get whacked?
Of course they're going to say that. But my point is, do we think that's smart
Does
to
the-
live in an American city just go under?
How many American cities need a massively oversized federal government to stay afloat? I mean, isn't that
Again-
says more about the city than the government?
It's like, oh, people are so dependent on government jobs over in these countries, in these states. It's baffling to me, man. Honestly, like I'm getting tired of the Democrats at this point, bro. Like a liberal pundit, minute they open their mouth, I'm like, yo, what you debating for? And you wonder why they're so scared of DOGE getting access to their stuff, because the jig is up. You catching them laundering money. Imagine banks don't want to loan money to businesses where they're not sure where the source of their income comes from. Yet we're allowing the government to send money to unknown sources, to these black holes where no one knows where the money went. And no one in the federal government is uncomfortable that this stuff hasn't been going on for decades. Then someone comes in, want to do something about it. You don't want to help them. Instead, you want to resist them. What are you hiding? And that's what it comes across, that the government is hiding. These agencies are hiding something. And it makes us even want to support DOGEs even more. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you have any concerns about privacy concerns of DOGE going through Social Security, even though they found already $72 billion of improper payments? Do you have any concerns about, do you have any privacy concerns? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget to share the video if you feel so inclined. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.